Hi, Will.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you?
Doing all right.
Great. So, Will, lots of companies are asking me what are the top 12 controls that every company should apply? And I guess it's not an easy question. What do you think?
I think the big thing with controls, the great thing is there's so many to do. I would say, before we get into the top 12, we could talk about what drives picking the top 12.
Yeah. It's interesting because we all understand that even if you do all the 12 controls, it doesn't mean that you will be really secured.
Right.
It's interesting. Lots of companies are also asking, okay, if I have to pick one, what is the most important thing that you have to do in order to be able to be secured?
So I would say the most important thing to start off any security program is management commitment. So we can sit here and start trying to do security, but if we don't have the backing of leadership and the management commitment behind it, then the program is set up to fail from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sometimes it's a difference between cybersecurity and compliance. That in compliance you just want to check the box, and it's sometimes not as effective if you really care about cybersecurity.
I would agree, and the other thing is you know it's a big topic we talk about in security, which is budget, right? So without management commitment, it's very hard to get budget that you need in order to implement further controls or to help drive the prioritization. And so that management commitment, I say it starts at the top. Even when we start talking policy, right? So it's very hard to write security policies if management's not behind it.
Yeah, I agree. So let's say you have the management commitment and everything. Everybody thinks that cybersecurity is a very very important thing, and there is willingness to support and to have enough budget to actually implement controls. This session, let's talk about the top 12 controls that we have to implement in every company, and I guess we'll start with the first three controls.
Okay.
What are them?
So I would say that the very first one is going to be um, asset management. So, as I look at a cybersecurity program, it's very hard to protect what we don't know. And so, asset inventory is top of the list. So, asset inventory can encompass everything from hardware, software, SaaS applications, user identities, people, what role they're in, what data types we have. So, everything hinges on understanding what we're protecting.
Yeah, yeah. So asset inventory is very important. I guess that it's somehow connected to understanding the risks as well. So to understand what you want to protect and against what do you want to protect as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I come in and I'll typically look through, I'll try to catalog assets. I try to figure out who owns them, who's responsible for them, what's the type of outages a company can handle on each asset. What's critical to the business, what are nice to haves versus need to haves. And the last thing you want to have happen is you design an entire security program and you're not even protecting the crown jewels. What needs to be protected to protect revenue.
Yeah, I always like that every company has its crown jewels.
Yeah,
So many crown jewels in the industry.
that's it. And every company's different. And so that's one of the first assessments is saying, okay, what's critical, what systems are most important, and all of that gets cataloged in an asset register. So,
Mhm.
that's why I say asset inventory is the number one control.
Okay, number two.
Number two, I would say, right off the bat is going to be security awareness training. So, we have our assets, we have all these things, but the at the end of the day, the users are the ones that we're really trying to protect. Ultimately, we're protecting data, but access to that data is kind of gate kept by the users. And so, security awareness training, to me, is that number two. And the users in a company are going to be the ones that are going to get emails. They're going to have links, attachments. They're bringing their laptops in and out of the building, putting them in their car. They're traveling, and so everything around security awareness, I would say, is number two. Um, if we can teach users how to operate securely, then all the other controls can start falling in line. But we always know there's always going to be that user that clicks on something. There's always going to be that USB drive you find on the floor at a conference, or all these things, and so that's where the other controls will need to step in. But definitely number two is security awareness.
When we talk about security awareness, I guess there are different roles in the company, and uh, if you have an admin without any cybersecurity understanding, he could do very stupid mistakes. So when you when you talk about cyber awareness, is it different from one role to another, or is it common to all
It
companies?
is. I would say there's general, cybersecurity training, right? That everybody should get. It's the standard that we all do. But as we start looking at the roles in the company, and you start talking, administrators, executives, developers, there's different roles that will need further training that is more specific to what they do. So, for developers, how to commit code securely, or what to look for in, let's say, if they're pulling down open source libraries or packages. Um, with your administrators, finance, your CFOs, your controllers, what to look for ACH fraud and, other financial fraud. And so there are role specific trainings that I think that need to be in place as
Mhm.
well as a part of a really effective security awareness program.
Thanks. So number one is asset management. Number two is awareness training. What is number three?
I would say number three is going to be the antivirus EDR. Right. So if our workstations, our servers, that's our, kind of our last line, that's the access to data. So the antivirus and EDR is going to be kind of that first, I call it table stakes. Everybody's got to have it. The antivirus, a lot of them are signature based. Your EDRs are based on behavior of applications. But that's going to be typically the first line, or sometimes the last line of defense before getting access to data. So that's going to provide your ransomware protections. It's going to provide your bad attachment protections. So number three, I would definitely throw is the antivirus EDR.
Yeah, when we talk about EDR, you mean endpoint protection.
I do,
And, uh,
yes.
now there is NDR for the network, there is XDR that's doing both, I think. Um, is it related to this number three? So if you are more advanced, the EDR becomes NDR and XDR?
It could be, right. So a lot of your EDR vendors do have connectors that you can buy and add on that then start looking at network traffic. It could be thrown in the same bucket, same vendor, same control, but they're different purpose, right?
Mhm.
So yes, you could say, we love acronyms in cybersecurity. I think that's probably the one thing that anybody comes in, it's like, lost with all the acronyms, EDR, XDR, NDR, MDR. But ultimately the thing you see there is the DR, which is the detection and response. So we are trying to shift from a right of boom mentality, post breach, post incident, to a detection and response early on. So these technologies do work together, and a lot of times they're in the same agent. So you can get an antivirus EDR that has the networking and the identity, these other add-ons that kind of bring it all together.
So just to summarize our first three controls, let's take for example the ransomware attack. So if we know all the endpoints that we have, uh, and then all the people are trained not to click any links, malicious links, and things like that. And then we have the perfect EDR that stops all the click that the people by accident clicked. So maybe we have a pretty good protection against ransomware.
I would say it's pretty good. I would say that the threat actors and the adversaries are always evolving, always getting smarter. So I wouldn't limit myself to those three, for sure.
Wow,
But I would say it's a very good foundation to build from.
great. So it means that we need at least another nine. So,
Oh,
so the next three controls that help us to deal with ransomware or other attacks in the next episode.
yes.
Okay, great.
Right.
Great to talk with
Thanks.
you, Bill.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks.
Bye.